Hi, Carl Winkler here at Lectrosonics. In this video, I'll show you the DCHR miniature digital receiver. Like all our portable receivers, this little thing packs a punch. We designed it to handle stereo transmissions, either encrypted or unencrypted, like from an M2T or a DCHT. But the DCHR is also fully compatible with mono transmitters from our D² line, like the DBU, the DHU, and the DPR. In other words, the DCHR is a miniature, AA or externally powered receiver for camera hop or straight camera mounted use, either with mono or stereo digital transmitters. So let's start by looking at the outside. Physically, the unit is most similar to the digital hybrid LR receiver, although the DCHR is a little slimmer and lighter. It has the same display as the LR and a similar keypad. On the top panel, we have the removable SMA mount antennas and the TA5M locking audio output with either two balanced analog signals or a single digital AES3 pair, selectable in the menu. We have several cables ready to go with different connectors for the various devices used with this receiver. Here's the IR sync window for quickly setting up the associated transmitter or for sharing encryption keys. And for confidence monitoring, it's got a 3.5mm stereo headphone jack. Headphone volume can be set in the menu, or when the display is on the home screen, just pressing the up and down arrows will change the level. Like the DCHT, DBU, and LT transmitters, the DCHR can use the optional LT battle limb for external DC power. On the other side of the case is the USB jack for firmware updates. The DCHR uses the same wire belt clip as the DCHT and LR, so it can be cold shoe mounted on cameras using the LR shoe accessory. All right, let's get a closer look at the keypad, the home screen, and the menus. The 5-button keypad is nearly identical to the one in the LR. Menu select, back, power, and the up and down arrow buttons. At the upper left is the RF link light, if lit, indicating a recognized RF signal. At the upper right is the power battery LED, which runs green until the batteries are about 2/3 depleted, then turns red. When about 10% of the battery life remains, the red LED will blink. Here in the home screen, along the top, we see the operating frequency, the antenna diversity state, and the battery levels of the receiver and transmitter. Just under the operating frequency, we see the channel name, which can be edited in the menu. Below that, we see an RF strip chart showing about 6 seconds of history, a lot like what's in our DSQD receiver and wireless designer software monitoring screens. This can be a handy feature for troubleshooting. Then to the bottom right are the audio modulation meters. And as I mentioned earlier, from the home screen, pressing the up and down arrows adjusts the headphone volume. Let's get into the menus. First up, we see the RF setup, and if we press the menu select button again, we can manually set the operating frequency, use SmartTune for automatic frequency selection, or scan the local RF and choose our own frequency that way. The group setup lets us manage frequency groups, which can then be transferred over infrared to other devices that have the group tune function. Next in the main menu is audio setup, starting with output level, allowing us to adjust from +5 dBu down to -50 in 1 dB steps. We can also send a 1K tone to the next device in the chain, like a camera or recorder, to calibrate levels exactly. Compatibility modes let us choose between Duet unencrypted, DCHX encrypted, and D² digital transmission modes. Output type gives us analog or AES3, and the audio polarity allows us to invert the signal if need be. The sync and encryption menu allows us to send the operating frequency over infrared, send all settings, get the frequency from a transmitter, or get all settings. The key type selection allows us to choose between the universal key, common to all our encrypted units, the shared key, which is handy when you need more than one receiver to have the key, the standard mode, which is highly secure, only allowing one receiver to have the key, or volatile, the most secure of all. This is the one-time use type of key. If a transmitter loses power, it needs to be resynced. If the receiver loses power, a new key must be generated. Then, if you're in any key management mode other than universal, you'll see the make key, wipe key, and send key functions. For a fuller explanation of the different types of key management policies, check out my video on the D² encryption choice and setup. The Tools and Settings menu offer the Lock-Unlock function, allowing you to prevent changes to the unit via the front panel, the transmitter battery type and display, the receiver battery type and display. The display itself can be reversed or normal, or the display backlight timeout can be chosen as well. You can also edit the name of the receiver and the transmitter. The Locale function relates to how much of the DCHR's frequency bandwidth will show in a scan or when using SmartTune. The North American setting does not allow TV37 between 608 and 614 MHz to be used. With the EU setting, these frequencies can be used. This will match the available tuning ranges in the transmitters sold in these different regions. The About screen shows you the unit's currently loaded firmware versions. Then finally, the unit can be returned to factory default settings. Okay, let's do a quick setup using the DCHT transmitter. I'm going to use the SmartTune function to choose the best frequency for this location. Look how quickly it does the scan. Once it's done, it presents us with the option to use the IR sync to set the transmitter. Hold the infrared windows close to each other and fire away. Once that's done, I'll turn on my DCHT transmission and we're good to go. The RF link light came on, there is RF activity in the meter, and we can see audio modulation. Another method would be to manually enter a frequency from a list or do an RF scan and then tune the receiver manually. As you can see, this little receiver is a flexible and powerful tool for a wide variety of applications, for camera hop use, for small cameras, or even for the bag. The powerful encryption can be used with 4 different key policies depending on the application, and setup is extremely quick and easy. For more information, check out the product details at lectrosonics.com. I'm Carl Winkler. Thanks for watching.